Here I'm cutting a 2x4 in half, and again I'm using prying here, and this is going to be for the legs. Now I'm using Baltic birch plywood for the seat, and the seat is 38 inches long by 17 inches deep. And now I'm going to cut some 1x6 pine, and these are going to be for the runners for the frame, and these are cut at 2.5 inches wide. Now I'm going to be using 1.25 and 1.5 pocket hole screws to assemble, and here I'm just drilling out the pocket holes on the top and bottom runners. Now on the legs, I'm just putting a bevel on the bottom just for aesthetic looks. So instead of using the saw to cut that, and because it's such a slight bevel, I'm just using the sander and sanding it to the line. Now here I'm using my bow. Now this is for the backrest of the bench. And for the tarp, I just want to put a slight arch. So I'm using my bow to figure out what looks best. I just trace a line, take it over to the bandsaw, cut on the outside of the line, and then bring it to the sander and sand it to the line. Here I'm cutting 5 pieces for the backrest, and these are 2 inches wide. Now basically I just laid out, and I'm going to mark it where my dominoes are going to join, and I'm doing that for top and bottom, and I'm using spacers in between to get an even space all the way. Here I'm going to use a small brush to glue in my dominoes, and I'm going to do this on both sides. And then I'm going to clamp it, and I'll leave it clamped for about 4 hours. Now I'm ready for assembly, so I'm going to start with the top runner on the front of the bench. And here I'm using 1.5" screws to screw them together. Now here I'm marking for the backrest, and again I'm going to use dominoes to secure and clamp the backrest to the legs. Now the back legs are sitting at 29 inches high. And this is Type-On glue that I'm using. Now I'm going to screw the rest of the runners on the sides, and this pretty much completes the frame of the bench. Now the Baltic birch plywood is being screwed on the sides and the back, and this I'm basically going to use pocket holes and screw it on the inside of the frame. Now for the top seat, I'm just going to use some birch edge banding. And I will just use an iron and glue it all the way around. And just use a rasp to cut the sides to a 5-degree bevel. Sand it with a little bit of sandpaper, and she's good to go. I'm going to be using 1.25" pocket hole screws to screw down the seat. And this is the plywood that's sitting on the sides and the back. And I'm also using 1¼ screws here as well. Now these pieces I'm using is for the drawer slides to screw to. So I'm just planing them down to the thickness I need. And I'm just going to pin them down with some brad nails. And I did run a little bit of glue in behind. Now for the drawer boxes, I'm also using 3/4 inch plywood. And here I'm just cutting a dado on the inside for my 3/16 plywood. And I'm just using my regular blade for this, and I'm just slowly creeping it up to the right size for the plywood. Now I'm going to use some glue on the sides, and then I'm just going to shoot them in with brad nails. I will do this to 3 sides, drop in my bottom plywood, and then put the last piece on. And the top pieces already have been edge band. I don't glue in the bottom plywood just for humidity reasons, so it has a little bit of play to move. Now, I find the easiest way to do an inset for the drawers is I just take a 3/4 inch piece and clamp it down, and that will give me the proper position for the inside of the drawer slide to screw to. So I basically just take the slide and push it up against the 3/4 inch piece that I clamped down and screw on the drawer slide. This is going to be the trim that goes around the drawers, and these are cut at 2 inches wide, and I'm just using 1¼ pocket hole screws to screw them together. Then I will use a little bit of glue and brad nails and shoot them into place. The way I usually do this is I take playing cards and I use those as as spacers to go all the way around the box so you get a nice even space all the way around. Now I'm using my drawer pull jig. I'm going to drill out my 2 holes per drawer and secure my drawer pull. Now I always do this before staining or verithaning. That way it makes it a lot easier once it's finished. Once I know everything's good to go, I will remove all the hardware and then stain. I'm using a expresso stain, and I'm putting one coat, and this is so it matches the other furniture that I have built for this customer. Now that it's sat for about 4 to 6 hours, I'm now spraying a sand and sealer. I'm putting a generous coat. I will sand it down with 220 grit. And then I will apply 3 coats of pre-cat lacquer. I don't sand in between my lacquer. I basically spray a coat, wait about 15 minutes, and spray another coat, and so on and so forth. And this is the finished product. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.